Therapy is transformative. With the right therapist, you can co-create a space to learn to love each part of yourself, to witness, accept, and move on from your past, and to imagine a brighter future. However, this only happens if the therapist you find is a good fit for you. Studies have shown that the therapeutic relationships, the relationship you have with your therapist, is one of the best indicators of success in therapy. And it's not always an easy search. We are all unique and respond best to different techniques, personalities, and vibes. Hi friends, I'm Christian, a mental health therapist, a therapy client myself, and a Taurus moon. I love anything that helps me slow down, feel good, and savor a little bit more of this life. So there are 3 aspects in your search for a therapist. You want to consider logistics, needs, and the process itself. Logistics are the foundation of your search. This is where you will determine which therapist you can actually see. This is going to be really broad. Your needs are the heart of your search. This is where you're going to determine what you need to feel aligned and connected to your therapist. This is going to be narrowing it down a bit. The search process itself is what you need to conduct an efficient and thorough search. Finding your therapist isn't always easy, so please remember to take your time. This is an investment in you. We are discussing how to plan the search and how to consider what will contribute to your best experience for your healing and growth. Like I mentioned before, it is important to start with logistics. When I say logistics, I mean the administrative parts of finding a therapist. We are focusing at this point on finding as many therapists as possible that can legally and ethically service you. There is nothing worse than finding a therapist that seems to be the best fit and they cannot take you on as a client because they're not in your state or they don't fit your schedule. Speaking of being licensed in your state, therapists can only service clients that reside in the state where they are licensed. So your big first question is, where do you reside? Next, you'll want to consider how you plan to pay for therapy. You can pay through your insurance or on your own. Knowing upfront what you plan to do and what makes you feel comfortable will help you select a therapist that fits your payment criteria. You'll also want to consider your schedule. Therapy only works if it is done consistently. Select a few days a week where you can block off an hour or 2 for your session. Usually therapy sessions last about 50 minutes, but I say block off more than an hour because honestly, therapy is a lot. You may need time to process or to decompress or to zone out because you just did a lot of work. Now we'll start to narrow the search. When you think about your needs, you want to think through why are you seeking therapy and who you feel will be the best fit for you to learn, heal, and grow. First, you'll want to think about what makes you want to find a therapist in the first place. It might be a specific experience that you're going through right now. It might be just a general feeling of uneasiness, or it might just be time to start taking a deeper look at your past. Whatever the reason, being able to express even a vague sense of what brings you to therapy will help potential therapists determine if you are also a good fit for them. Remember, therapy is a relationship between you and your therapist, between the therapist and the client. So it is important that the fit works both ways. Another consideration is which expression of your identity is most relevant to what you're going to discuss in therapy. So what I really mean is, what don't you want to explain about yourself? Different aspects of your identity are things like your ethnicity, your culture, your race, your gender, your sexual orientation, possibly religion. When I'm getting vulnerable in therapy, I don't want to explain to my therapist what it's like to be a Black woman. So I look for therapists that hold a similar identity with me. Now, you may not always find a therapist who shares the identities you're looking for. When I lived in California, I couldn't find a Black woman therapist that fit my schedule, so I ended up seeing a therapist that's white. But that therapist was an ally to my communities, so I didn't have to explain a whole lot, and he specialized in the type of therapy I was looking for. So when I talk about specializing in a type of therapy, Their therapists are trained to walk clients through the process of therapy. And there are a lot of different approaches you can take to that walk. So, for example, if you are dealing with anxiety, you may want to talk to a therapist who is trained in somatic therapy practices, or acceptance and commitment therapy, or mindfulness based therapy practices. If you are working on healthy boundaries, you may want to talk to a therapist who is trained in internal family systems. If you're curious about a therapy modality, a therapeutic approach that isn't so focused on entirely talking, you can maybe look at art therapy or dance therapy. There are lots of approaches to the therapeutic process. When you are considering which of the therapists available to you are the best fit, you want to think about what is it that you value and who resonates with those values based on the profiles that you're looking at. It's not perfect, but you can get a lot from the information that the therapists are telling you on their profile. Speaking of profiles, let's talk about the search process. To conduct an efficient and thorough search, you first want to make sure you are searching in the right directory. There are lots of therapist directories out there. The right directory depends on how you're prioritizing your search needs. So if you just want to look at the widest range of therapists, you may want to start with Psychology Today or Therapy Den. If you are looking for affordable therapy that you're paying out of pocket, Open Path Collective is a great place to start. And say you're prioritizing one of the parts of your identity. There are therapist directories that relate to that. So there are therapist directories for therapists of color, for different sexual orientations. It depends on what you're looking for. I actually have a free therapist directory, I'll link it below, that can kind of get you started in selecting what therapist directory you want to look at. Once you have the directory, then you'll start the actual search. You want to use the information from your logistics and your needs to dictate who you're looking for. Once you put in all that information, you'll find that you get results back, which therapists come up for you. If you get less than 5 potential therapists, I would contact all of them. If you get more, a lot more, I would contact 5 or 10, go through the profiles and pick about 5 or 10 and email them, let them know you're looking for a therapist and ask for an introductory call. An introductory call is a 5 to 10 minute phone call. It's free, where you get to talk to a therapist, tell them a little bit more about what brings you to therapy and hear more about their approach to therapy. This phone call is extremely important when you are assessing, does this therapist make me feel comfortable, and am I able to be vulnerable with them? You can't tell everything up front, but you can get sort of the personality and the vibe of that therapist and see if it matches with yours. If you find a therapist that you vibe with and you feel comfortable with, go ahead and schedule your first appointment. If not, keep looking. Finding a therapist takes a lot of effort, but honestly, it is so worth it. And if you're here, you are on a path, you've started the path to healing and growth, and friend, I am so proud of you. I really hope this video has helped you clarify your search for finding your therapist. If you have any questions, please leave them below in the comments. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe to my channel for more ways to make therapy work for you. Take care.